Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and today I've got a video for you all about hidden gems, differentials, secret weapons, whatever you want to call them. These are the players that hardly anyone really knows about, hardly anyone's really picking in their teams that really could be amazing players to have, but for some reason people are not talking about these players. So this is what I want to bring to you, some players that you might not have thought about before. I know a few of you guys liked in my video yesterday, in my cheap bargain players video, a few of those players that I included in there were a little bit different from what you typically hear around the FPL community. So I'm going to try and bring you some more interesting and different players in this video. All of them are kind of at 3.1% ownership or less, all the way down to 0.2% ownership. So the bottom ones are literally only owned in the teams of like a couple of thousand people in the world. So these are serious differentials and we're going to highlight them to you right now in this video. If you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like. It really does help the channel out so much. And of course, please do subscribe if you're new as we try and hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think we can do it, but I can only do it with your help. So yes, let's start the list of hidden gems. So our first one is Raheem Sterling at 3.1% owned. I am going to start with the highest owned player and we're going to work our way to the super differentials, the real hidden gems. We're going to start off with Raheem Sterling, 3.1% owned, 11 million. I think most of us will agree that Sterling had an amazing Euros tournament. He's kind of one of the players of the tournament, probably England's best player in that tournament as well. Now that said, a lot of us are a little bit apprehensive about Sterling's performances with Man City last season. I think that's why his ownership is quite low. He had a pretty poor season by his own standards with 10 goals and 9 assists in 31 games. But hang on a minute, 19 goal contributions in 31 games in a bad season. Not that bad, is it, when you think about it like that? That's kind of a goal contribution in almost 2 out of 3 games. That's actually a pretty good rate, especially during a bad season. And since he's come off the back of a good international tournament, could he maybe be back to his best? What does his best even look like? Well, if you want to talk about his best, we just go back to the previous season. So in the 2019-20 season, he got 20 goals and 6 assists. So that's 26 goal contributions in 33 games. In the 2018-19 season, he got 17 goals and 15 assists, so that's 32 goal contributions in 34 games. In the 2017-18 season, he got 18 goals and 17 assists. That's 35 goal contributions in 33 games. So he is capable of a goal contribution per game kind of rate, which is exactly what the kind of thing that we really be after with our premium players, aren't we? So we're talking about elite numbers pretty much every single year. This is what he is capable of. So it kind of leaves us with the question, was last year just a bad year for Sterling, or is he just a slightly worse player than he was before? I don't think he's a worse player than he was before. And if you think he can get back to his best, or that he already is back to his best after that Euro tournament, then what you have here is an incredibly explosive premium midfielder who is just that nice little bit cheaper than some of the other premium players, and he's also a differential that not many other people are considering. So if you're willing to take a risk, Sterling could be the difference maker in your team. Next is Oleksandr Zinchenko at 2.2% owned, 5.5 million. Now, the stats on screen probably don't make for great reading to you. 20 appearances last year, no goal contributions whatsoever. But I think these stats are a little bit misleading, which has turned Zinchenko into a bit of a hidden gem. Firstly, he had some kind of injury problems during the first half of last season that limited his game time. The fact that during the second half of the season, he played almost every single game. He played almost every single Champions League game too. That kind of convinces me that Zinchenko is the first choice left back for Man City. He makes them a better team. They just look and perform much better with Zinchenko on the pitch. Now, there's no such thing as nailed on under Pep Guardiola, but I think Zinchenko comes pretty close to that. Yeah, no, he didn't get an assist in the Premier League, but he was able to get a couple of assists in other competitions. He did create 15 chances, 1 big chance, take 16 shots, 5 of which were actually in the box during his 20 matches. He averages almost 1 shot and 1 key pass per 90 minutes. Now, those stats aren't too bad, but the main thing we're looking at with Man City is those clean sheets. And, you know, Man City are a team who are just proved themselves to be arguably the best team in terms of getting clean sheets, the best defence in the entire league. There's arguments to say Chelsea towards the end of the season, but I think Man City do just edge it for me. So if you do want those clean sheets, you can either splash the cash, go for 6 million on Edison or Diaz, who don't really offer much attacking threat themselves, splash 6 million on Cancelo, who is, in my opinion, probably equally as nailed on as Zinchenko, but costs more money, even though he does have a little bit more attacking threat, I guess. Or you can save the 0.5 million and go for a 5.5 million player. You can go for Stones or Laporte, who will be heavily rotated with each other. Walker, who is going to be playing second fiddle to Cancelo, or Mendy, who I really doubt is going to get much game time at all. So in terms of the best 5.5 Man City defensive option, who's going to get you those clean sheets, provide a little bit of that attacking threat? For me, it's got to be Zinchenko. Zinchenko is the answer to that problem. And if you're put off by the fixtures, honestly, don't be. There's no such thing as a difficult game for a team like Man City, and Zinchenko could really be that differential for you in defence. At 2.1% owned, we have Bertrand Traore, 6 million price tag, which I think is probably the most interesting thing about him, to be honest. So first of all, I just want to make it very clear which Traore I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the Aston Villa Traore with the crazy dreads and the crazy skills, not the Wolves Traore with the huge muscles covered in baby oil. But anyway, I spoke yesterday about fun players to own in FPL, players that you look forward to rooting for, not just because they're in your FPL teams, because they have just something magical about them. Now, Bertrand Traore had that magic in abundance, and considering the amount of football he played for Aston Villa last season, along with a pretty tasty 7 goals and 7 assists, I'm kind of confused why he has flown under the radar so much. 6 million is a really cheap price for a midfielder with any kind of attacking potential, really. And Traore has bags of attacking threat. He's kind of improving. He's playing for an improving side in Aston Villa, a side that's just brought the insane creativity of Buendia. I just think Traore could possibly beat some of the players who we usually have been talking about so far for around his price tag. You know, we're talking about Rafinha and Buendia. I seriously see Traore possibly outscoring them, but at least going toe-to-toe with them. And I think, you know, if you're 0.5 short of buying a player, you know, you've got Rafinha or Buendia in your team, and you really just need to find 0.5 million somewhere to improve somewhere else in your team, downgrading a Buendia or Rafinha to Traore for 6 million, that seems like such a pretty obvious good move to go for, to be honest. I would happily trade in Rafinha or Buendia for Bertrand Traore if I did need to save a little bit of money. So definitely a great differential, definitely someone I do want to highlight to you guys. At 1.9% owned, we have Danny Welbeck. Now, you probably have kind of heard other fantasy football pundits, maybe you've heard about me talk about it as well, about Brighton's defence. Brighton have a great defensive record from last year, probably the best or maybe second best opening run of fixtures as well. So we all probably find ourselves with a Brighton defender or goalkeeper in our teams. I'd say most of us do. But what about the attack? Well, Welbeck genuinely probably offers the best attacking threat of any Brighton player and is a great alternative to the fantasy troll that is Neal Maupay, who I will never recommend to you guys after last season's antics. Those of you who have been with me for a while will be able to tell you all about my love-hate relationship with Neal Maupay, but we won't be talking about him too much this preseason, and that's for sure. We'll talk about Welbeck instead. So Welbeck had a few injury problems and was struggling for starts when he first joined Brighton after appearing, many times from the bench as well. So he wasn't really an established player, but by the end of the season, he had established himself as a starter every single game in that two-man attack. So in his 9 starts between game weeks 28 and 36, he scored 4 goals and grabbed a few assists in there as well. He also became a bonus points magnet. He actually ended the season with 15 bonus points in total. And that's just really big for fantasy. And I genuinely think for all forwards priced at 6 million or below, he is definitely the number 1 pick. So if you have a budget of 6 million or around 6 million for a striker, Welbeck has got to be very, very high on your list of players to buy. That I really, really do feel that very strongly. Even though he's a differential, I just think he is just a good pick at that price, and it's kind of backed up by stats as well. So last year in the Premier League, no player who currently costs 6.5 million or less can beat Welbeck's 3.71 points per appearance across the season. And that includes all of those sub-appearances as well. So 3.71 points on average per appearance for Welbeck last season. That's pretty good, right? Now, if you take the stats from game week 28, when he became that regular starter, after the game week 28 and beyond, all the way to game week 38, when he's that regular starter, he averaged 5 points per game week. That's the kind of points average you kind of expect from a 7, 8 or 9 million forward. That's a seriously good average amount of points per game. It's pretty nice. For 6 million, it's just incredible. So if you can continue that form into the new season with these amazing early fixtures, he's not just a great differential, but actually a great player to buy, full stop. Next is Jarrod Bowen, 1.4% owned, 8 goals, 9 assists, and minutes played in literally every single Premier League game last season. He's kind of a young and improving player. He's building on an insane goal-scoring record he was kind of famous for, really, in the Championship. He's playing for a West Ham team who everyone will be keeping a very close eye on after their incredible season last year. Bowen is another amazing example, really, of the value available in midfield. There's so many really good value midfielders available this year in FPL, and over the last season he was involved in 23% of West Ham's goals, so he's a key player in their attack. He really is. He had 11 big chances to score over the season. He created 11 big scoring opportunities over the season, and if you like the look of West Ham's decent run of early fixtures and you want to step away from the template of Rafinha or Buendia as your 6.5 million midfielder, then Jarrod Bowen could be the hidden gem for you. At 0.7% owned, we have Dele Alli. Finally, we're kind of at those players who are owned by less than 1% of FPL managers, and this is a pretty interesting one, really. I'm sure a few of you guys watching this video are raising your eyebrows. Your eyebrows have lifted up as you hear me say Dele Alli. But let's hear me out a little bit, because last season was a really weird season for Dele. I know it feels like he's fallen a long way since his 18 goal and 11 assist season in 2016-17, but just 2 assists last season. That was strangely low for Dele Alli, even for his more recent standards as well. So injury problems have plagued him over the last few years. He was heavily out of favour under Jose Mourinho, but a new manager in Nuno presents a new opportunity for Dele to come back into the team and thrive. If you're going for him in hopes of him kind of getting back to his best under the new manager Nuno, then I'm not going to lie to you, you are going to be taking a huge gamble. But this year, he's 6.5 million. Usually, he is 7.5 million, 8 million, even 9 million in seasons gone by. So he has been so expensive before. But now he's all the way down at 6.5 million, which does mitigate that risk just a little bit. There are also talks about Spurs playing a 3-5-2 formation. This could mean that he plays potentially as a striker, the second striker there, maybe behind the strikers a little bit, especially if Harry Kane were to leave the club. He's done it before. He's done really well there, so it could easily happen again, creating an out of position player. We like them a lot. It's a bit of a mystery of what's going to happen, really, and like I say, it is a huge risk, but for a team with the potential of Spurs, one of the bigger teams, if he does manage to be a regular starter, if he does thrive in one of the biggest teams in the Premier League, it's one of those risks that could pay huge rewards if it pays out, particularly at that 6.5 million price tag. At 0.2% owned, we have Rayan Ait-Nouri, 4.5 million defender. Okay, we're kind of talking super differential here now, aren't we, Anne? But this one, I am really interested in. So much so that Ait-Nouri is in my current team draft that I'm going to be sharing with you tomorrow. Now, the first 3 fixtures are not great for Wolves, but after that, they're fabulous. Primed for Wolves to get some clean sheets. And I know what you're thinking. Wolves, they weren't that great for clean sheets last year, were they? Last year, a bad season for Wolves, but in the 2 seasons before then, they were incredible, weren't they? They're going to have a fresh start now under former Benfica manager Bruno Lage, and given the squad they have, I think they should regain some form. Now, Ait-Nouri is expected to become the first choice left wing back for Wolves, kind of featured in most games last season whilst on loan at Wolves, but I like how attacking he is. This is what I like the most about him. Really, really attacking. He's one of those players who will just charge so high up the pitch that he's often in the opposition's penalty area, taking shots, putting in the key passes, and doing it en masse really as well. He's a player kind of in the same mould of Spinazzola, Mela and Dumfries, who we saw in the Euros, a wing back who thinks they're a winger kind of thing. And that's exactly the kind of player we are after in these fantasy games. And once things have settled down under the new manager during those first few difficult games, Ait-Nouri genuinely could become that fantasy must-have for this season. Another 0.2% owned player to finish you off, and we have Michael Olise, 5.5 million. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of Olise before, he's a 19-year-old attacking midfielder slash winger who Crystal Palace have just signed for 8 million from Reading. That price tag, 8 million, was absolutely incredible because he really is such an exciting talent in English football right now. He was the Championship Young Player of the Season last year. He was in the Championship Team of the Season. He grabbed 19 goal contributions in those 44 games. He is a player who's only going to improve. He is a player who is joining an ambitious Crystal Palace team who are spending money to improve their squad under new manager Patrick Vieira. And we kind of got Eberechi Eze set to be injured for the rest of the year, really, the rest of the calendar year. And I think Olise is going to slot straight in at right wing. It really could happen. Straight in there, cutting inside, using his favoured left foot. Could be a starting winger for 5.5 million for Crystal Palace, who are, an improving team. That could actually be really, really good. So this one's really, really flown under the radar and could be a really good gem. So, whilst I don't think Olise is a must-buy by any stretch of the imagination, at 5.5 million, he's definitely interesting, especially from game week 11 onwards, where Palace have this great run of fixtures. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Definitely one of the best super budget midfielders available that you can possibly get. But most importantly, an absolute certified, bona fide hidden gem. So guys, those are my hidden gems for today. Let me know in the comment section who you think is your favorite hidden gem, whether they're in this video, whether they are not in this video, someone you've got for yourself. Maybe you don't want to share this, but if you are willing to share with the FPL mate community in the comments, who have you got your eye on? Who is the real super hidden gem that we will need to be looking at right now? Let me know. But aside from that, guys, like the video. Like I said, it really does help the channel so much. Please do subscribe if you're new around here. Plenty of fantasy content to come. Like I said, I'm going to be dropping my latest Fantasy Premier League Game Week 1 draft team tomorrow, which I'm really excited by. I hope you guys are going to like that video because I'm really liking the team that I've built at the moment. I think you're going to like it too. I really do. But aside from that, that's pretty much it. You can join my mini league, follow me on Twitter, all other kinds of random stuff, all in the description if you want to follow me around or join leagues and stuff like that. It's all in the description, guys. But aside from that, I will see you tomorrow for my team reveal, and I'll see you later, mates. Bye-bye.